because we have different faculties. We have a body, a mind, we have a vital, which houses the life energies and the emotions. We have a heart and we have a soul. And so all these different elements have their own voice. Our mind has its own voice. It wants to seek comfort and it wants to avoid pain and discomfort, just like the body wants to have rest. And so when we have a voice inside our mind or something pops up, it doesn't always have to come from the deeper planes. It doesn't always have to be that intuition, right? It can just
No.
be our minds telling us something. So how do we distinguish between those different, inspirations or voices or thoughts that are popping up inside us?
Yeah, I mean, that is really the key part of this game that we're talking about here, of using intuition, and I think the way to look at it is that intuition is the highest possible capacity of a human being. Like using, while we're here, using our physical body, that's really like the high level, the highest possible kind of level of experiencing the world. If you're experiencing the world from the purely intuitive plane, you will immediately, every single thing you will see, you will immediately know and understand exactly what it is and its purpose and its meaning and its reason and all of those things immediately without even needing to be introduced or explained what that is. And so I think that's the sort of level that the great spiritual teachers had attained, that they could be in any circumstance, in any situation, and they could just immediately know what was the right course of action because they're not operating through the mind. They're operating from this plane of intuition where, as Sri Aurobindo said, it's you immediately and directly understand things without needing the mind to mediate and to explain what something is. So you see a person and you immediately understand and know what they are and who they are. And perhaps that's often why people often can feel a little bit insecure around a great spiritual figure, because they know that when the spiritual master looks at them, the spiritual master looks at them all the way through. He sees exactly, he understands exactly who they are, their strengths, their weaknesses, the battles that they're going through, all of those things. And so for some people, that's a terrifying thought that someone could see you and really see all of the parts of you that you're trying to hide. But if you're trying to actually transform those parts of yourself, it's a wonderful thing because, like, here's someone who can actually see and truly understand you, and then can actually give you some advice that takes into account all of those things. Whereas your friends and your colleagues, and even perhaps if you go to a therapist or someone like that, they're never going to see and truly understand you fully. So their guidance, their advice, it will always be clouded by their own ideas. But
Yeah, plus
also,
a spiritual master will never judge you for your faults. He will
no,
always have love and compassion because he understands you are a child of the divine, just like everybody. And limitation is just the name of the game. So
yeah,
it's not even a bad thing to have limitations or to have bad
no.
thoughts or something. It's just part of the whole game. And a spiritual master, I think, understands that very deeply and never judges somebody. It's not an X-ray machine who's just like mercilessly
Yeah.
seeing through all your faults and judging you for it, but it's lovingly trying to help guide you through that whole process of going into higher degrees of perfection and oneness and overcoming these limitations.
Yeah, because I'm sure all of the great teachers at some point they were not that dissimilar from where we are right now. They were living their life, and sometimes they were jealous, and sometimes they were angry, and sometimes they were insecure, and sometimes they were fearful and timid. And so they've had all of these experiences as well. And that's, I think that's always a beautiful thing to know, because if you're playing the game of reincarnation and you believe that we're going through this journey and cycle of lessons and learnings and problems and opportunities and transformation, then you realize that wherever you are right now is the exact right place for you on your journey to perfecting yourself. Because, like, if we just look over one lifetime, like if you wanted to really become a great athlete, you could look at yourself right now and you could go get a whole bunch of tests done, and they could say, well, actually, you're not very powerful, and you're not very strong, and your legs are a little bit short and your arms are a little bit skinny, and this, that, and the other thing. And so you could find all these things that are almost unchangeable about you now that will actually stop you trying to achieve your goal. If you wanted to become a weightlifter or a particular type of athlete, you could go and get some tests done and very easily find out, oh, like, I can't actually do that. Like, I don't have the right constituent material. But I think the fun thing about playing the spiritual game is you have all of the right constituent material to become whatever you want to become. So to whatever a goal you're seeking to attain through the inner process and through the practice of spirituality, you have all of the capacities already. It's not like you'll find out, oh, I didn't have enough capacity for love or for kindness. So yeah, I never could quite reach the highest because yeah, I had the wrong sort of muscle fibers.